Everybody, and welcome to Morning Coffee. I am Mark Cook, and this is a fine Tuesday morning here in September. As we're coming off Monday Night Football, baby. The Eagles beat the Bears. We didn't just beat them. We beat them bad, baby. So we're talking to Neil Villapiano on the Skype line. Good morning, Neil.
Good morning, Mark. How are you?
I'm doing well. I was loving that game last night. You know I'm a Birds fan, and the Eagles came out and took care of business last night in Chicago.
Yeah, they certainly kicked Mofobo is the right word to use there. They played very well, and they looked good. Carson Wentz, he looked better. He looks like he's continuing to develop into that NFL quarterback that the Eagles have been looking for. He completed 21 of his 34 passes for 190 yards and a touchdown. And even some of his incompletions. I saw one play where he was scrambling to his right, and he threw a pretty deep pass about maybe 30, 40 yards down the field. And even though it was an incomplete pass, it was a perfect spiral, and it was pretty much right on target. So I said, wow, he looks like he's really developing into a very good quarterback in this league. But it's only week 2, so time will tell.
Well, the thing I liked about it was that he doesn't turn the ball over. That's 2 games where he has protected the ball. And this is huge. I can't remember. I mean, obviously I didn't look up any of the stats, but when have you seen a rookie quarterback come in and not turn the ball over?
You know, it's been a while since I've seen a rookie quarterback do that, and I think what is so impressive that the Eagles have done is that they've kind of slowed the game down for Carson Wentz. They're not forcing him to make big-time plays. He had a tremendous first game against the Browns last week, and then this week, again, it seemed a little bit more simple. Not even throwing for 200 yards, but he did throw a touchdown pass, and the team did play well. You also had Ryan Matthews, their running back, carry the ball just 9 times for 32 yards and scored 2 touchdowns. So it's a mix of pass and run for this Eagles offense, a lot different than when Chip Kelly was there. And I think they're just trying to slow it down and make it simple for Carson Wentz in order for him to make a smooth transition into the pro game.
Yeah, I mean, Ryan Matthews, we know that this kid is really talented when he stays healthy, and he looks healthy and he looks good. That one touchdown run where they looked like they stopped him and then he bounced out and punched it in. If the offense can stay healthy, I think that the Eagles, as long as they stick with this game plan that they're in right now, we're going to have a really fun year. The biggest problem that I saw last night, it was the biggest problem last year, it was a problem again last night, are the drops by the wide receivers. Another one. Another touchdown right through Jordan Matthews' hands. What are the Eagles going to do at wide receiver?
I think they just need to develop these wide receivers. Obviously, there's not a big load of receivers that are in the free agent market or maybe even possibly for a trade. So I think what the Eagles really need to do is do kind of what they've been doing with Carson Wentz and slowly develop them. I don't know if a lot of people expect the Eagles to go far or anything like that. It's optimistic at this point, but I think you really need to develop these receivers and develop their hands because some of these guys, as you said, are dropping a lot of passes, and it happened even last year. And they need to get that turned around if they really want to get their offense clicking.
Yeah, now the one play that I thought was going to have a real impact was the pass interference that they didn't call on Nelson Aguilar. Aguilar was the receiver, but Gruden actually came back after the commercial and brought it back up again because it was such a bad call. What is going on with the refs? It seems like the refs are still having problems with what's a catch, what's pass interference, what's holding at the line, because at the end of the game, you heard Kelsey curse on the broadcast because he was being held basically the whole game that they didn't call it. So what's going on with the officiating, Neil?
Yeah, that was the play I was talking about before that I saw with Carson Wentz throwing the deep pass that looked really good. But going back to your question, I don't know at this point. It's crazy that every game you see somebody calling a pass interference when it clearly wasn't,
right,
or there's no call. And so it's really tough to tell at this point when you ask what is the catch, what is pass interference. So, and it all depends, in my opinion, really on the type of reps you get per game. You don't get the same reps every game. Every refereeing crew has their own way of calling things. So it's really tough to tell. I feel like even if you teach these guys what is and what's not, it's still kind of frustrating. And I saw this in several games. You even see it in college a lot, where these refs make absolutely terrible calls, and you wonder, why is this a catch? Why did they call this pass interference? How is this not pass interference? So I don't really know the answers to why these things are happening. I think it just has to depend on the certain reps you get.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the fans are frustrated because there's replay in place to be able to eliminate any of these questions, and it still seems like they have no idea what's a catch, what's not, and what's going on that side. So you mentioned that the Eagles fans are optimistic. Giants fans are optimistic as well. I think we're both dreaming, but what's going on up there in the land of the Gents?
Well, you were exactly right. We are very optimistic. A lot of these fans did not know how this season was going to go, but the one thing that has been a breath of fresh air is that the Giants know how to finish games now. They were able to hold on to beat the Cowboys last week, and they were able to hold on to beat the Saints this week. And if you remember, there was a 52-49 game last year between the Giants and Saints. It was a shootout. Eli Manning threw 6 touchdown passes. Drew Brees threw 7. That's not what you got today.
No.
This is not what you got. It was a very low-scoring game, a lot of very poor offense by both sides of the ball, and I felt like, geez, the Giants, they looked so good last week on offense. Now they look very bad, and that makes me worried. But the Giants' defense looked phenomenal. They really played well, and that's really a breath of fresh air for myself and a lot of other Giants fans, that their defense is a lot better. And even though Eli Manning did throw a touchdown pass, he looked very good. He completed 32 of his 41 passes for 368 yards. He didn't throw a touchdown pass, like I said, but he looked really good. He didn't force any passes. When he had to throw it away, he threw it away, and he really seemed to do well. And again, like I said, the offense was able to close out the game. They were able to make big plays at the end, especially with their offense, got into field goal range and won the game. And what was so interesting is that the only touchdown for the Giants was a blocked field goal by Janoris Jenkins that he returned for a touchdown. And that was the only, well, not offensive, but only touchdown the Giants had all game, because their kicker, Josh Brown, pretty much won the game for them.
Yeah, you know what? The scary part for me is that the Giants didn't play their best game, but they still won. And that's a sign of a good team, is that you can make up for mistakes and you can overcome obstacles, when you're not playing your best game and still win. That's the scary part, because I think that the Eagles are playing much cleaner games. Obviously, they're not turning the ball over. But look, man, this could be a fun division. We weren't expecting too much this year out of this division, and after the first couple of weeks, it looks like we may have a really, really fun year.
Yeah, it should be really interesting. Obviously, the Giants have their first NFC East matchup with the Washington Redskins next week.
They stink.
And that should be really interesting. And yeah, I think this is really exciting that you have all 4 teams in this division that are very competitive, and I think this is going to be a very interesting rest of the season, in my opinion.
Yeah. Now, last night, Neil, it was really funny. During the game, I heard this theme music that I haven't heard on ESPN in years. And guess what it was? It was the Hockey Night in America theme music, because that World Cup, whatever it is, that's landed back on ESPN, and they had 2 quick teasers. They said that Team Canada is primed to go far, but Team USA is on the brink of elimination, and that game, I think, is USA-Canada. That's coming up tonight or tomorrow night, right?
Yep. Tonight at 8 o'clock, USA takes on Canada, and you know that a lot of hockey fans are going to be watching that game, because obviously USA versus Canada, big rivalry. So, yeah, 8 o'clock tonight on ESPN, so it should be a very interesting game to watch. And like you said, you are correct. The United States is in danger of getting eliminated. 2 days ago, they lost their first game against Team Europe 3-0. And when I watched that game, they looked like they didn't put up much of a fight, and that really irritates me, and I'm sure it irritates a lot of U.S. fans that say the U.S. men's hockey team always seems to be struggling in these big tournaments. They always have high expectations, but it just doesn't seem like they're ready to play, and they didn't look very good. Jonathan Quick, he was probably the best player on the team, and he gave up all 3 goals. But the rest, you look at their offense and especially their defense, they just looked very slow and lackadaisical.
Yeah, last week when we were talking about that North American team, I went home and I actually caught some of their game, man. You were right. That team is so fun. They're all just a bunch of kids that they just look like a different type of team because they're so young. But what that dynamic would have been if some of the young Americans would have been able to play for Team USA. I think that it would have been able to mix that squad up a little bit. But the way they did it, they may have put Team USA kind of up against the odds there.
Yeah, I've watched both North America's games, and even though they lost last night in a heartbreaking fashion 4-3 against Team Russia, which is one of the favorites to win the World Cup, they've really impressed me. And I'm not totally shocked that they're this good. I'm just surprised in the way they're scoring. Their passing is unbelievable. The speed that they have. All these guys can really, really move around the ice, and they can make a lot of plays. And they play tremendous in both these games. And I think that if they can get through their next game and move on into the semifinals, I think they could be a favorite to not only get to the finals, but possibly win it all. And a lot of people, that was their prediction, Canada versus North America in the World Cup final. And honestly, that would be a tremendous matchup for a lot of people to watch.
Yeah, I'd like to see it. I mean, look, I obviously am rooting for Team USA, but if they're going to get bounced out tonight, then look, Team North America is a nice second team to root for. So we'll see what happens. But Neil, we're talking hockey in September. It's a little bizarre, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a little bit, but hockey season very close away. We're very close to October, so hockey season's coming.
Yeah, the Flyers rookies play the Islanders rookies like tonight or tomorrow night. It's one of those like 6 p.m. start times where they don't expect anybody to actually watch the game.
Yeah.
That's awesome. He is Neil Villapiano, and he is from the MVP Show. You can catch him every Saturday right here on Radio Vision Network. Neil, thanks for spending a few minutes with me this morning.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
No problem. Hey, that's it. That's Neil Villapiano. You can check him out again, I said, here on Radio Vision Network on Saturdays. Make sure you go to his Facebook page and like him too. Just search out the MVP Show. That's N as in Neil Villapiano. So I got to take a quick break here on Morning Coffee, but Jim Cucinato's in from Halo Health, and he's got a great guest. So make sure you stay right there because we're going to be right back on the Radio Vision Network.